Deftones, Smile, Guitar Tabs, and Guitar Lesson. I'm going to play through all the different sections right at the start. Afterwards, go back through, explain everything to you. Before we get into the lesson, please hit the subscribe button. It's the best way of letting me know that you enjoy this video and like to see more like it. And with all that out of the way, let's get on into the lesson. Okay, to start, we're in a drop C tuning, C, G, C, F, A, D, and a whole lot of two guitars just kind of over the top of each other in this one. Kind of the one that's doing a lot of lead stuff actually throughout a lot of it, and then just a bunch of more chord stuff. But even that one gets a little funky with some octave stuff. So the initial riff, this intro thing, we're just kind of playing this little lead line up here, and start here on the 10th fret of the second string, and we're just kind of strumming along on it, maybe like accenting every third one or so. It's just kind of a that type of vibe. We hang on that for a good, most of the measure, and then we just cap it off at the end by dropping down, hitting a couple eights on the first string to a 10. So just try something like this. All right, and the chords, once the vocal comes in, basically like the verse chords going on here, we're doing would be basically a G minor with an added little ninth there. So just playing along with the open fifth string, all right, and then we have a 7 on the fourth string, 5 on the third string, and then we do the open second and first string. All right, and there's just kind of a loose strum shuffle to that, and basically we go between that and then just drop down to this C minor voicing, which sounds nice this way by hitting an open fourth string, the 7 on the third, 6 on the second, and 5th on the first string. And basically we just go between those two chords 3 times, and the final time through we just kind of add a little something at the end of each chord. You know, we do our initial G minor with the 7/5 in the opens here, but towards the end of that, you can even add this 7 on the first string, and then we get into our C minor where we strum it just as usual with the 7/6/5 there and the open 4th string. But then at the end of that one, we just take it way up and hit this higher voicing of it with an open 4th string, the 10s on the 3rd and 2nd string, and a 12 on the 1st string. All right, and when the pre-chorus comes in, we can get a little bigger with everything, you know, throw some gain on it, some distortion, all that stuff. And we get real kind of lead line with this first guitar, where we'll just be at 10 on the 1st string. We just hit it, hold it with some vibrato for a minute. Okay, and this next part, which we'll see again, just kind of interlaces with most of this, where we'll do 10 on the 2nd string, come down, go 8, 10, 8 on the 1st string, back to 10. All right. So we'll see that chunk at the end. And the third little bit of this, I guess, you say hit the 10, come down, hit an 8 on the 1st string, hit it again, just hold it there. And then, of course, we do our part we just did, the 10 on the 2nd string, 8, 10, 8 on the 1st, back to 10 on the 2nd string. The chords for the pre-chorus section, we go to a big kind of E flat major 7 without the 3rd is the chord. Just kind of a big power chord with some added little stuff at the bottom here. So we just hit 3s on the 6, 5, and 4th string, and then the 3rd and 2nd string, just do some 5s. We'll get a little octave at the bottom here because we're going to hit this open 1st string. All right, we just strum through that, and then basically the next chord, only really 2 chords happening here, and we just take that shape and we just bump it all the way up to 7 now, and then just lift off that 5 on the 2nd string, just make that an open as well with the 1st string, you know, so we got our 7s and then a 9 here on the 3rd string, and then a couple of opens. And basically we just go between those 2 chords. There's a funny little thing that happens, you know, once we get into the 3rd time through this. You know, we start with our E flat chord there, but then as we would jump up to that G suspended 2nd chord we just had, instead of doing that, we just come way up and we hit this octave at the 12 on the 5th string and 14 on the 3rd string, and we just strum through that basically. So kind of an interesting little thing there. And then just to wrap it up, we just do our basic chords, the E flat to the G suspended 2nd. Once the chorus gets going, the lead guitar, the first guitar, is just hanging up here, just bouncing around between some 10s and 12s, really. We start with 10 on the 2nd string, and then we go to 12, and then we hit a 12 on the 1st string under it, back to the 12 on the 2nd string. And basically we just go between a 12 on the 1st and the 2nd, do that a good, 4 times or so. And after that, we come off, hit a 10 on that 2nd string, 12, 12, 10, and then up to a 10 on the 3rd string. For the second guitar during the chorus, kind of does some interesting stuff here. It's not just, straight hitting chords. Like I said, there's some funny octave stuff that kind of takes place, and the bass just really carries most of the chordage. But essentially it would be in like a C minor vibe here, but we're going to do this super high octave at 15s on the 6th and the 4th string here. And we just come on up, hit it, come off to a couple of big opens for that C power chord, and then we'll come down at 15 on the 5th string, 17 on the 3rd string, strum on that, and then we just take it down 1 fret to 14 and 16, strum on that for a little bit, and then just basically off to our big G suspended second at the 7s with that 9 on the 3rd string, open 1 and 2. All right, and then we have what I say would be like a chorus end section. Maybe call this a bridge. I don't know. But the first guitar doing this kind of fun little scaling up and down, where we start at the 9 on the 3rd string, hold it a moment, we go 10, and then 10 2nd string, 8 1st string, back up to hit a 10 on the 3rd string, and then we bring it, scale it back down with the 8 on the 1st, 10 on the 2nd, 10 on the 3rd. All right, we'll go through that 3 times and then cap it all off with this section where we're, the other guitar is hitting the big chords, just 5 of them. But right here, the lead part is 9 on that 3rd string. Hold it, 10, 10 on the 2nd, back to 10 on the 3rd, and then 9 on the 3rd string. And the second guitar is kind of doing some fun stuff. It's almost like it's doing its own little lead thing over the top of the chorus end section. Bass is really just carrying most of the progression here. But we're going from like this E flat vibe again, and basically we're just going to be at this octave at 5 on the 5th string, 7 on the 3rd, and mostly just using those strings for these octaves here. We'll take that, hang out there for a moment, bring it on up to 12 and 14. All right, and then we do a real quick 5 and 7, 7 and 9 to 8 and 10. All right, and then from there, we'll come back to the 7 and 9, and at this point, it switches to a C suspended vibe, and then we come down to the 5 and 7, do a quick 5, 7 to 3 and 5. All right, and then we'll come back to our E flat now. Come on up, hit the 8 to 10, and then keep it going, come way up to 15 and 17. And then at this point, we're just hitting the big C5 power chords, just boom, 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 okay?